The Ministry of Hacking is a platform. It's also a conglomerate. Some people might also think it's a contradiction in terms, because ministry is usually referred to by states. Only states have ministries, and have a strong administration, bureaucracy. It is very hard to get in. You have to follow their rules. And hacking could even be seen as some sort of the contrary to that. Hacking is a very active process. Hacking stands for understanding how something works, taking something apart with the attitude and the reason to understand what it actually, how it works, and that it comes from technology, but it can also be applied to social and political structures. So hacking is an attitude that primarily has the interest to understand. And in the definition of the Ministry of Hacking, we include the term feminism strongly into that as well. Again, understanding feminism as a strategy and an attitude to look into systems and structures of exclusion and inclusion and understand where these decisions and these inclusions and exclusions actually come from. So now here in the Ministry of Hacking, we've brought together quite a big bunch of different people from different regions in the world, and also different artistic practices and political practices, in order to create one space, one surrounding, one temporary field where we can intensely exchange these ideas that we find interesting and important in this time that we're living in. Because we are surrounded with all this communication technology and technologies. It's mostly mobile devices, internet, which we have all become very used to using, and also see that the influence that these tools have on and into the way how we communicate, with whom we communicate, and in which velocity we communicate, that is strongly defined actually by that set of technologies. This ministry is probably the first and only transnational ministry. We really intensely and consciously look into these sorts of borders and try to find strategies how to either circumvent these borders or just dissolve them. And this is a history and the tradition that, of course, is not something that the ministry invented or started. It has a long history and tradition in a lot of different other feminist, hacking, and political strategies, and also in art. So some of the networked encounters that ESK has been involved in was, for example, I would just like to mention some of them. So one that was quite essential in that was the Gender Changers, who started in the beginning of the 2000s in Amsterdam. It was a group of women who decided to really learn and understand how software works and how hardware works. So one of the first things to do was really take apart machines and understand what is in there and then put them back together again. And they found out that not only women or persons in Amsterdam are interested in that, of course, and therefore they started with the Eclectic Tech Carnival, which is a 1 week-long meeting of women interested in free software and hardware, sharing their knowledge in the format of workshops and get-togethers, and try to facilitate an exchange of the knowledges that are there. It's mostly based on technologies, but it's also a very political and strategic way of meeting. So in summer 2014, this meeting happened in Calafó in Spain under the title Transhack Feminist Meeting, where the decision was taken to not only focus on technology, but again widen the term and the understanding of what these tools that we're surrounded with and that define how we can work, how they work, where they come from, and how they could be changed. Another strong relation that has been important to set up that ministry that we're standing in now is an organization in Brussels called Constant. They deal with media, free software, and feminism. And so there is a lot of different levels of communication and cooperation possible. And ESK is starting a cooperation now with Constant. Another one that I find really wonderful and great that is happening at the moment, obviously there's a strong wish and need for feminist hackerspaces. And that is seen because there's more and more appearing all over the world in really different continents. And there's also more and more theory being written about that. There's, I think, at least 3 PhDs that have been finished this year. And there's also, for example, the Journal of Peer Production that will dedicate one of the next issues to the topic of feminism and hacking, or feminism and unhacking. So what the ministry can do is to offer and facilitate a time frame, including a space where a lot of these different strategies can actually come together. That can play itself out as performances, as an installation where a lot of different artistic practices also come together. There will be talks and lectures, there will be debate, there will be some workshops. And what is one of these one of the outcomes or one of the consequences of really having a physical space where these actors meet is that they start really working together. So before the ministry was opened, we had some departments already defined. We had Department of Trust, Department of Anonymity, Department of Technical Feminism. And then when the artists started coming here and started working in the space, they started realizing, okay, but we could also found new departments. And now even it's not only departments, we have already included 2 offices in the ministry, and this is a strategy of further combining and networking in this rhythmic understanding of working together. And I assume that this kind of building of new terms and trying to find a new language, how to describe what we're actually doing, is going to go on and grow during the time of this exhibition, and probably and hopefully also further on.